Hey, this is Victor with Southern Keto, and this is Keto in the Car. So I got asked a question on a video I did the other day, why doctors are not worried if you have high cholesterol. So I don't remember the exact title, but anyway, that video, and I did a lot of research on that video, and I got asked the question, do you really believe that the government, the big pharmaceutical companies, and the big food companies are out to get us? I didn't really know how to take that question. I wasn't sure if it was like a request for more information or it was like you're a conspiracy theorist and that's insane. Now, I've got some conspiracy theories, not so much theories, more conspiracy facts that I've uncovered doing a lot of research into a lot of these topics. But I want to answer that question with a question. Do you believe that the government, who can't spend their own money wisely, consistently spends more than they make, are on the verge of a shutdown every few months because they can't fund themselves, because they can't budget and they don't know how to spend money?
Do you really think they have your best interests in mind?
I mean, if we were to do that, we'd be broke, homeless, busted, disgusted, and couldn't be trusted. But we keep letting these clowns back in. Now, I don't mean this to be a political rant by any means. I really don't want to talk politics on here at all, but the truth of the matter is that the deeper you get into some of this stuff, the more old studies you dig up, research papers you dig up, and start following the money, the deeper it really gets. And the more intertwined with politics it becomes. Not so much politics, but government, I would say. I mean, the pharmaceutical companies get a lot of their money from the government to do research, a ton of money. And in turn, they're lobbyists for the pharmaceutical companies that pay money towards campaigns so that they have a say-so on what laws are enacted so that they can push out their products. Then we got big food companies that buy out farms that get subsidized to produce corn, wheat, soy, and rice. The only other one in the top 5 is cotton, in which, if you know anything about the history of seed oils, cottonseed oil was the first one produced. There was actually toxic waste in the mid-1800s. And I may end up doing a video about this, but I'll just give you a little basic overview of it. Procter & Gamble started a soap company, and I started actually researching him because we have a soap company. I was interested to see some of the old recipes and stuff that they used, but they originally used animal fat to make soap. But then they got so expensive, they tried to find a different way to make it with a cheaper fat source. And so what was once industrial waste, cottonseed oil, became what they used as the cheap ingredient to soap instead of using animal fat so that they could make more money. So in all these things, you can kind of break it down to one thing: follow the money. If you follow the money, then you'll know the intent. So anyway, that cottonseed oil, which the government subsidizes cotton, and the 4 big carbs, the wheat, the corn, the rice, and the soy. So all these things are subsidized. Anyway, the cottonseed oil went from being a cheap ingredient, a cheap fat alternative in things we put on the body, to a cheap alternative to things we put in the body. And then guess what else you can use to make that kind of oil? You could use corn. You can use corn oil, vegetable oil, canola, the seed oils, which are highly inflammatory. So once you have the inflammation going on, you have the disease going on. Once you have the disease going on, guess what you need then? Well, surely you don't want to just stop putting the things in your body that started causing the disease in the first place. What you need is a pill. So you still eat that stuff, but you take a pill to manage the symptoms of it. Now, you're not going to cure it. Why would we want to cure it? Because if you cure it, how are the pharmaceutical companies going to make any money? So to me, it's kind of all one big circle. The government funds the pharmaceutical companies' research. A new pill is introduced to help the symptoms of some disease. They pump some money back into somebody's campaign. The tax money goes to the big food companies to produce food. And remember, all this stuff was toxic waste at one time. The cottonseed oil was industrial waste, a part of the cotton manufacturing process that they threw away. Guess what the other seed oils are? Industrial waste that they should throw away. But instead, it's made its way into all of our food supply because it's cheap. So if you have a higher quality ingredient and you have a cheap ingredient and you have a high price that you want to sell it for, follow the money. The product with the cheaper ingredient that you can sell for the same price as the one with the good ingredients is going to make more money. So you use the cheap ingredients, right? And listen, I'm not trying to throw conspiracy theories. I'm thinking common sense wise. I'm thinking about all the research that I've done, the studies that I've read, the skewed results of a lot of these studies that just kind of fit whatever paradigm someone wants them to fit. Inconclusive studies. Studies that don't use double blind. Studies that use people's memories from what they ate 3-4 years ago as a basis for research. Is that research? Now, you're not going to find anybody willing to put money out. I mean, I believe the beef industry should, because they're one of the lowest subsidized categories of farms. If the beef industry would throw out a study, get enough people to do, I mean, who wouldn't volunteer to do a study on keto and carnivore? I'll be your first guinea pig to sign up. Absolutely. But who's going to make the money off of that, other than the beef producers? I feel like it would have to be almost 100% self-funded, because the powers that be are certainly not going to pay them to do a study that's counter to the agenda of the big circle, big food, big pharma, and government. So why would they fund a study like that? They wouldn't. I mean, the keto diet, really carnivore, in the 1800s was used as a medicine. Way before that, Hippocrates said, let your food be your medicine be your food. Back then, they knew the importance of diet. If you're watching this right now and you're on a keto or a carnivore diet, has it changed your life? Have you noticed your blood pressure come down? Have you noticed a bunch of weight loss? Have you noticed conditions you may not have even realized that you had go away after starting to eat differently? You know, for me, I used to walk downstairs in the morning and every step would hurt, like ankles. I'd have to grab onto the rails on either side. I'm pretty young. But the way I had treated my body for a while didn't take long. And I hear people my age like, oh man, you know, it gets worse and worse every year. Well, I mean, it's not for me anymore. Like, I wake up feeling better than I've felt in years. And now it's just normal. Now it's just the way it's supposed to be. And I thought that waking up, walking downstairs and having joints popping and aching and just overall feeling miserable, I thought that was supposed to be normal, but it's not. It is definitely not. So do you think that all the foods that come out, like I shared on my page one day, they've got potato chips that taste like the Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity pancakes from IHOP. I mean, how bad a shape is the country in when a potato chip is not unhealthy enough? You gotta add in a bunch of sugar and make it taste like pancakes for people to enjoy it anymore, because people's taste buds have gotten so out of whack from all this crap. You know, it was like when I was a kid, you know, ice cream was vanilla, chocolate. They came out with Rocky Road and Moose Tracks, and that was like unheard of. Like, oh wow, they're putting extra stuff in ice cream to make it even better. I mean, it was probably out before I was eating ice cream, and I don't think it came out then, but you know what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden that wasn't enough, so they took ice cream, they threw cheesecake in there, and that wasn't enough, so let's do cheesecake, a caramel swirl, and chocolate chip cookie dough. Let's throw all that in there. And then that wasn't enough. I mean, at some point it's got to stop. You look at the obesity epidemic in this country, and you've got kids morbidly obese at 8 years old. This has just happened over the last 20-30 years. And obesity and disease in general, especially diabetes, within the last 75 years, has started creeping up. Guess what crept up in that time period? Seed oils. Guess what's a cheap ingredient in just about every processed food? Seed oils. Guess who benefits the most from putting the seed oils into food? Well, obviously the food companies, but guess who else? The pharmaceutical companies. Because you got inflammation running rampant. A lot of people don't even know about it. A lot of people, when you say inflammation, are like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anything that ends in itis is inflammatory. Bronchitis, inflammation of the bronchial tubes. Gingivitis, inflammation of the gums. So anything that ends in itis is inflammatory. So you can reduce the inflammation by reducing the seed oils. I mean, there's a lot of other factors involved in inflammation. But if you get rid of the ones that you can control, you're going to be a lot better off. What you won't hear a lot of is either side, the Republicans or the Democrats, talking about pharmaceutical companies or big food. Sure, they'll come out with a soundbite every once in a while. Yep, we're going to lower the cost of prescription drugs for everybody. Does it happen? No, it makes a good soundbite. You know, it sounds good when you're trying to get elected, and then all of a sudden you get amnesia once you're in. They don't talk about the big food companies. The ones that do are kind of the outsiders, I would say. And again, I'm not trying to get political, but it seems like Michael Corleone said in The Godfather, just when I think I'm out, they pull me right back in. But it's just a part of that circle. And you can't help but talk about it a little bit. I'm not going to say which side's right, which side's wrong, because I think they both got good points. I think at the end of the day, they both shake hands, go out and have some cocktails, and just want to keep people divided. I mean, that's just what it seems like to me. That is my opinion. That's my conspiracy theory. And I've always been independent. I mean, I would say probably a libertarian, because I can see the best in both sides. There's a lot of things I don't agree with both parties. There's a lot of things I do agree with. But if you really want to see something interesting, just Google RFK, who's independent. Doesn't get a lot of media coverage, of course, because he's independent. It's not a channel about the media, so I won't even go there. But just Google RFK and Smithfield Farms. RFK and Smithfield Farms. Of course, you know Smithfield is one of the biggest pork producers in the country. But if you really want to see some interesting stuff, he's uncovered a lot. He was an attorney that went against a lot of these big food companies in his career as an attorney. So he's got some real interesting insight that I believe that all of us in the keto and carnivore community can learn from. Even if you don't support him, just check it out. It's really interesting. And I'm probably going to include some of that in a future video too, because I just feel like the people need to know the truth on where our food's coming from and some of the things that are involved. Anyway, enough of that. So just kind of a little, I won't even say a rant. It was just a question I got, and I couldn't decipher the way that was framed, so I just wanted to kind of answer that question by kind of providing a little insight on why I feel the way I do about it. And I always love questions. I always love comments. I know some of you that are watching this are glad that this doesn't have any music in the background. I know y'all know what I'm talking about. And hey, listen, I'm going to hit that point right here too. I'm going to put music in my videos. I think the problem with that one was that it had so much going on with that particular track that I used. I think for like iPhone and iPad, some of the things they had like smaller microphones and stuff, or smaller speakers. I think the range of it, the frequency of it just kind of blended with my voice a little bit. And so I do apologize about that. I try to do my best to put out good videos for you that you'll enjoy. And I always go back and listen to it with my headphones on. I'll usually watch it on the TV. I'll cast it to the TV to make sure it sounds good through there. But I don't have an iPhone. I've got a Samsung Galaxy. And I think the speakers in that are good because I watch it on my phone too. And I have my son watch it back too, and he's like, I don't really see a problem, but I know that there is, because so many people have said something about that. So I'm going to try to crank that down just a little bit. And I do apologize, because that was really a video I put a lot into, and I'm really, really proud of that recipe. And so I hate that some of you didn't have as good of an experience with that video as you could have. So I'm going to try to do better on that. But I'm not going to cut the music out. I really like putting music in there. The ones that have the music in there do better than the ones that don't, because it kind of takes away from the dead space. But it's not going to be loud and in your face, hopefully, like that one was to some of you. Anyway, that was that was off the mark, but that was something that has gotten a lot of attention. I did want to address, and I'm going to try to do better with that in the future, and make sure it's a good experience for you, because I want you to have a good experience. I hope you learn a lot from my channel, and I just want you to have a good experience when you come on here and watch me, because I appreciate you taking your time to watch me. I really do. It means a lot to me. I want to share this knowledge that I have, that I've learned over, a lot of years, and the recipes that I enjoy making, and hopefully stuff that you want to eat, to show you can have your favorite foods and eat keto. Anyway, I'm rambling now. I do believe that all that stuff is associated. Whether it's somebody out to get you or not, I can't say. I'm not in their hearts. I can't judge anybody. Only God can judge. But I do believe for a fact that the almighty dollar is involved. Because if you follow the money, you'll see the trail of breadcrumbs that leads to the big bad wolf. Who the big bad wolf is, that's for you to decide. I can't tell you one way or the other. But anyway, hope that answers that question. No matter which way the question was meant, I feel like I've answered it. If not, anytime you have a question, just leave me a comment. I will answer it. If I left this unanswered, or if you have any other questions, just leave the comment right down there. And I always appreciate y'all sharing my videos with people you think they'll help. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.